Hello, welcome to video number 3. This video is about the sacredness of food. We'll touch on food. We'll talk about mantra, the food mantra, the Akhanda mantra, and we'll also talk about prayer and spirit, systems thinking, unity, and a little bit about transformation here in this 20-ish minute video. But first, what a beautiful ecology of knowledge here. So I'm in this nature preserve where they keep this space free and untouched so no one will develop it. And it's a nice open park area, and just over that way, you can see there in the corner, that's the ocean. So how cool is that? And you know, when you're by these natural parts, when we talk about in LFS 250, we touched on how important the ecology of knowledge is. Where is the teacher? Is it more of a lecture or more of a community, or is it more of is it top down, or is it participatory? Is it empowering, or is it like a banking model, like you just get a deposit of information? So this is a very beautiful space. Kids are playing, people are relaxing, the trees are doing their tree thing, the sky is smiling, so are the waves. And behind me there's this beautiful plant I'd never seen before. It looks kind of like that. You know, really it doesn't look like a lot of what I've seen before. I like it a lot though. And for height, I'm actually just sitting if you thought I was standing. Well, one other note is that there's a chance that some noise could come up. You know, kids are playing, like I said, and there's cars that go by and things like that. So just please, I ask for your patience. And then without further ado, starting with on the sacredness of food, I'll start with the topic of mantra. And before I talk about mantra, I'll mention something that I read in The Politics of the Earth, a book of Earth-focused discourses by Drezek J. 2013. He talks about these different ideas of earth ecology and deep ecology, and when I read the deep ecology, my world really got rocked. This idea of bringing unity consciousness into our food systems and compassion for the world, compassion for the food systems, especially food, because we know that underlies our other systems. The earth supports the economy, it supports the people, supports our social systems, and so on. And so this radical thing, and I was walking in the University of Alberta, I was walking there, and I was like, there's a book about this stuff, because I sit in my room, I daydream, I'm like, I wonder if anybody thinks about this. And every time, somebody always does, so I'm very grateful for that. Instant download. Thank you. So mantra. Mantra means mental liberation. Tra is the liberating part, and man is the mind, liberation of the mind. And so mantra can be used in many different ways. In yoga, they teach that you have 3 minds, 3 main minds. There's many different minds really, but the 3 that they divide commonly is the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. And when your mantra is very loud and fast, like chanting, like kirtan, that starts off and it turns into more of a conscious mind work. When your mantra is more slow but still verbal and audible, then that is more subconscious. And deeply subconscious when it starts to be just your tongue moving, there's no sound. You might be like, tongue might move a little bit, but there's no sound. And then unconscious mind starts to get triggered when you start to use no sound and you're completely still, yet the mantra is still going in your head. That's the deep unconscious mind. And so we use mantras all the time in yoga. It's amazing. We were always having ceremonies and events, and we were always singing. We wake up, we sing. We have fire ceremony, we sing before every meal, we sing before bed, we sing At the evenings, we sing in our transformational experience. We sing several times during every yoga class, at the beginning and the end. And we don't just sing any old thing, we sing mantra. And mantra is coming from old scriptures. Most of the mantras are from Vedas, which are generally considered at least 5,000 years old. And then Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, these are everything older than 2,000 years. And then other mantras from Yoga Sutras. And so these are all very well meditated on, contemplated, the vibrations paid attention to, the whole flow of the sound, the energy, the subtler layers, the philosophy behind each syllable, all very, very carefully dissected and put into concise words, phrases, sometimes even longer, into paragraphs and so on. Now, this song, not only is it very healing for the mind, but it also is nurturing for a community. And that in itself is nurturing for your mind again, so it goes both ways. And when your community is strong, that helps to lend itself to stronger economy, stronger culture, stronger families, stronger everything. And by strong, I don't mean powerful in the sense that you can dominate and oppress. I mean joyous and happy and free and full of life, which is awesome. Eisenstein, in his book, he quotes one of the authors. His book is The More Beautiful Worlds Our Hearts Know Is Possible. And he quotes W.B. Yeats saying, "There is another world, but it is in this one. It is in this one." And so when we say that, there is another world, but it is in this one, it's like in coaching or in leadership, or in yoga, all those things I do, you have the option when you're training with someone, working with someone, you can have an issue and you can go through it and grow through it, or you can dodge it and go around it. And generally when you dodge it, you might get past it briefly, but it's still there, you're still carrying it. So you're setting yourself up for that to express again in the near future. That's not a long-term solution. And so when we talk about global development, and not just talk but act and live global development, we say, like, we have this world, we can't just get rid of our world and have a new one. It's not like that. It's not like you dropped your ice cream cone, you go back to the store and get a new cone. It's like you grow with the world that we have. The new world that we're dreaming of is in this world. It's here right now, and it can be nurtured and grown as we grow the possibilities of it. And I think that's what Yeats is touching at, and that's the purpose of mantra, is whether we're trying to do it on a personal level or planetary level, because those are intimately connected, but we are using the mantra as that tool to nurture the world into that which we wish it to become. So I'll share food mantra, and then I'll go into a couple other mantras. So you have food mantra, goes like this: Om Brahmar Panam Brahmar Havir Brahmar Agno Brahmar Nutyam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And then you'd bow, Namaste, and then you might say Hari Om with a celebratory smile and cheer, Jai. And that's food mantra. Food mantra is basically saying that everything is connected. We honor the food and the eater and the server of the food all as one, and we acknowledge that we come from this earth And the earth, we are eating part of the earth. We come from the earth. It's all food. It's all to be shared. It's all to be honored, and it's all sacred. And we give profound thanks, and we acknowledge that truth, and profound thanks and blessings to that which we're going to eat. But again, that the food and the eater and the server, they're all one. So it acknowledges this global community. It's an intimate systems thinking right there. Maybe I'll find one more quote here. See, people are playing over here. So the quote goes like this: because food, this is Vandana Shiva. And I learned at the ashram it's not Vandana, it's Vandana. Vandana, 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 what are you doing? And because food, I'm having fun. Because food is the very basis of creation, food is creation. And it is the creator. See, there's the unity parallel again. It is divinity in the context of the way that we live. It is divinity in the context of the way we live. There are all kinds of duties that we should perform with respect to it. I want to read a slightly different quote here. Is it there? Maybe it's not there. I'll finish that one though. Because she's going to say that we have sacred duties to keep. If people have food, it is because society has not forgotten those duties. If people are going hungry, society has moved away from the ethical duties related to food. And those duties are crucial. She's saying in another sense that we are food. It's like, where's that? It's from the Taittiriya Upanishad. I butchered that. I don't know how to say that. From food, Anna, creatures are produced. Whatsoever creatures dwell on the earth. For truly food is the chief of all beings. Beings here are born from food. When born, they live by food. They decease. When deceasing, they enter into food. Food is alive. It's not just pieces of carbohydrate, protein, and nutrient. It is a being. It is a sacred being. This notion of food as sacred is paramount and central to yoga. And so we have the food mantra sung before each of our meals. Next mantra I'll share with you. This is the Akhanda mantra. Akhanda mantra is the mantra that is sung by many. It's a bow to the wholeness of all that is. Akhanda means whole, indivisible, unbroken, connected intimately. And then you have this mantra is also the centerpiece of Akhanda yoga, which is the style of yoga that I'm most trained in. This yoga of wholeness, and that wholeness describes our world, our universe, and it also describes us. And that wholeness is a wholeness that we both try to cultivate and realize because it was always there. And at the end of all Akhanda classes, as of this year, the Guruji decided we will sing the Akhanda mantra. So Akhanda mantra, there's a ball. Akhanda mantra goes like this. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatparam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And then Namaste, Hari Om Tat Sat, Hari Om, something like that. How beautiful is that? It's one of my favorite sounding mantras. So that mantra, like I said, is a profound, deep acknowledgement of the wholeness of everything that is, and our sacred, beautiful peace in it, and then acknowledging that as true and blessing that and asking that wholeness to guide us. I'll read a translation here because I have a beautiful translation. It goes, Akhanda means whole, complete, and unbroken. The mantra means, I bow to the complete, indivisible universe, the entire energetic system containing all forces, all essences, all forms and beings working harmoniously. Centered in the heart of these forces interconnect and radiate in all directions, unifying existence of all that is moving and unmoving. I stand in this truth and offer gratitude to the Guru and all the teachers that give light to this path, to the experience infinite divineness, oneness, and the experience of being whole, Akhanda. And so the mantra goes. And with this prayer, you bring in this quality of spirit. Spirit comes from the Latin word inspire, or that's inspiration. Spire is the breath. And when God, in the Christian belief and also in many other faiths, when God made man and humans, He breathed into us, and that breath is our spirit, that breath is our essence. Yoga teaches when we're trying to connect deeper, connect with your breath, that it will guide you to your essence. And that breath, in my personal experience, does guide you deeper and deeper and deeper into your essence. And these mantras acknowledge such a sacredness that they do too guide you to your deeper, deeper, deeper essence. That is you, and that you can call it spirit. And now look at this parallel. When I went into LFS last year, I started LFS, we said food, like Will Valley started talking, and we sat down in that lecture hall at orientation day, and he's so excited about food. He's talking about food, woohoo. And he's like, food is our communities, brings us together, food is our connection to the earth, food is our connection to spirit and God, food keeps us alive, food is magic, like it's powerful, it's beautiful. And I'm thinking, wow, food, I'm inspired to be in food, I'm so glad to be in LFS. And would you look at that parallels right in yoga. And I never knew that. I was never aware of it. It was beyond my mental frames. But this Brahma is the notion of life. In yoga they teach Brahma. And Rozak T from 1992, he wrote this paper called The Voice of the Earth. Very good paper. Where Psyche meets Gaia in a bigger book called Eco-Psychology, Restoring the Earth, Healing the Mind. And that's a lovely read, I find. And so you have this beautiful notion of Brahma, which is another way of saying Akhanda. It's the whole, complete, indivisible, connected to all that is. And that's unity. And then Rozak, in his paper, The Voice of the Earth and Freeing Our Psyche, where Psyche meets Gaia, he says, you need to, as a first step toward that, building that better world that our hearts believe is possible, we need to start to connect our psyche back to the environment. Eco-psychology, that's the field where our ecology has separated, the economy in our world has separated itself from the ecology in our mind. It's connected in fact. However, if there's a gap in our psyche, there's going to be a gap in our actions. That's exactly what Vandana Shiva says in her book, Making Peace with the Earth. And I'll conclude with this quote again, that there is another world, but it is in this one. There is another world, but it is in this one. And so we can't just get rid of our world and get a new one. We grow and we learn and we evolve through the world that we have. And that is important to know and important to live. I'll conclude with the food mantra and the Akhanda mantra. Om Brahmarpanam Brahmarhavir Brahmaragno Brahmanutyam Brahmivate Nagantavyam Brahma Karma Samarina Om Akanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatparam Darshitam Hina Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more inhale. Thank you. Namaste. That concludes the videos for this course, and this concludes the self-directed studies. Yahoo!